Hi guys, I'm Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner, and a couple of days ago I decided to take out this new stamp set. This is the Stamp and Die set, Paisley Bouquet from Spellbinders. It's the club kit. It is one of the club kits for the month of June 2022. And looks like I put the wrong markings on here. Okay, these are all wrong. Anyhow, anyway, I decided to go ahead and take out this one and start working on some design team projects, and I kind of lost control. The first thing I decided to do is I didn't know what I wanted to do with these. So I took the sentiments and I stamped out a page or so of sentiments for me to be able to use on multiple cards, and I stamped out all of them. And I thought, you know, there's something I have never actually done, and that was make a background with them. So that's what I did, and I kind of lost control after that. So let me go ahead and show you all the cards that I made, and then I'll share a little bit about how I made each of those. So this one is with using the background that I created using some stamping and embossing and two of the sentiments from the stamp set. One is hello, and the other one says sending happy thoughts your way. I think that is super cute, and I used one panel and made two cards out of that. Also using the embossing folder of the month. This one is Botanical Diamond, as kind of, I'm using it as a matting layer and to add a little extra texture in the background. And then of course these lovely flowers and leaves, at least that's what I think they are, from the Paisley stamp set. From there, because I was stamping out the flowers and leaves, I was doing that on multiple stamping, so I could just die cut everything out and be good to go. But then I started using my scraps, and some of my scraps are in these long strips. So I thought, you know, that looks, after I did the first two stampings, I thought that would look good as the front of a card. So that's what I did. Well, this means that I wound up stamping a lot. I've got this one that uses one of the stylized borders as an accent on it. I've got this design that is just using the embossing folder. This one is using another one of the stylized borders, and it just goes on and on and on. In the end, I think I made 27 cards, so I have a ton, and they all say pretty much, all except for the first two. The first one says beyond grateful, and this other one says hope this card finds you well, but the rest of them either say hello or hope this card finds you well. So I have a big stash to be able to go out to get rid of. So I'm going to go ahead and move on into the little bit of process that I'm going to show you. I'm going to just show you kind of how I did the stamping, mostly for this guy because it is one of the first times that I've used that technique. I've seen it a million times before, but I haven't actually done it. So let's go ahead and get started with that. For this card, I'm going to be using the Paisley Bouquet, and I have a couple of ideas. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all on this card, so I'll edit out those that I don't use for this specific card. But one thing I really don't do. First off, I don't normally print out a bunch of sentiments, but this time I did go ahead and stamp a ton of those out, and it started me thinking about the cool backgrounds that I've seen that are all sentiments. So that is kind of sort of the plan for right now as to what I want to do. And I think that I want to use the one that says sending happy thoughts your way. So I'm going to start, I think, here. And then I'm going to be shifting my panel up, and to do this I'm going to be stamping in Hero Arts white. This is unicorn white. Basically, if I'm going to do the whole panel, I'm going to have to adjust these, but what I can do is I can go ahead and do one row and then do the next row, and on and on and on like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and we'll see how this goes. And I am going to use an anti-static powder tool on this too, to be on the safe side, because this is going to be a lot of stamping and a lot of embossing, and I don't really want the embossing to be anywhere that I don't want it. I'm also using Recollections white. So one reason I'm using the white is so that there's some white behind the embossing just in case it's needed. And I have a tendency to Well, I also don't know whether or not this is as juicy as I need it. I'm assuming it is, but you know, you never know for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp out a few, I think. Also started thinking about the shapes that are in this paisley set. These guys all look like flowers, but I'm thinking these to me look a little like leaves, so I'm going to stamp me out a bunch of leaves on some green cardstock, and I think I'm going to also use some dark green ink for that. This time I'm not going to do all the embossing because that took forever. I'm going to use Deck the Halls over some green cardstock. I also want to use up some of my scraps, so this is a good way to do that. This is turning out pretty good, I think. I do like those images, and I've got cutting dies that go along with them, so I'll be able to easily cut those out and then just add them to my card wherever I want. I'm going to do some more of those and a couple of other colors of green as well, so I'll have a bunch of them to play around with. Okay, so while I was stamping out the leaves, I decided to also stamp out a sentiment in the center because I had a little bit of center space. And then I started thinking that would look great on a card just on its own. So I'm stamping out a few more and trying to position my little leaves there where I want them. So I've got another idea for another card. So it looks like this is going to be at least 2 cards in this video. Okay, so let me go ahead and swap that around. And I'm going to put a piece of acetate over the top so I don't stamp over that. Or paisley shapes, whatever we want to call them. And it looks like my hello is a little bit high, but that's okay. It's still going to have enough room. And I think that is going to be pretty cool. And this could go on any size card, just depends on how much of it you want to cut off. So that looks pretty cool too. Awesomeness. Okay, next I'm going to move on to some of the flowers. I am letting myself get sidetracked this time. That's one, you know how you sit down, you don't really know what kind of card you want to do, so you just start doing a little bit of stamping. And then the ideas come. Well, today the ideas are still coming and I don't really want them. I need to stay focused. They are basically coming along and taking over. So this is going to be a fun day, I think. So I've got some orange and got some yellow. And let's see, I've got a bunch of reds, so I'll just take that pack out and we will see what we want to do with it. And now I just need to get some colored ink to be able to stamp on those. that I've got some of them stamped out, I realized that some of the cardstock I want to work with is a little too dark, so I'm going to do some more embossing. So for this one, I am just putting down some, well, embossing ink and using one of my anti-static powder tools so that I can put all of that ink down. And I need some more. Oh my goodness, will you look at that? I had intended to do silver. I'm going to do silver, but the gold looks awesome too. Look at that. Okay, I think I kind of went a little crazy with the Misty. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to start die cutting out the ones that I want to die cut out, and we're going to start assembling some of these cards. Yeah, this was supposed to be one card. I think I've got more than enough to make, I don't know, probably 10 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on doing some die cutting, and we'll be going forward with that. Okay, so now I'm ready to just start putting some of this together. I cut this one, that big panel that I did, in half, and I think I'm going to trim it down a little bit more because I also have been playing around with the new embossing folder, and I think that would be lovely behind it, but I want some of it to show. So I need to trim this one down. Okay, so I've got a little bit left over in this little, it was a big roll. So this roll is now done, and I can go ahead and use that piece here. And then I've got another roll of the Scotch that I got in. It's the same thickness, but the width is a little smaller, but it'll be perfect for what I'm using here. And again, some in the middle because we do not like saggy middles. And this is some thin foam tape, which means it doesn't give a lot of bulk. It makes it real easy to send your cards through the mail, but it does get that little bit of dimension that I like. I'm going to also add a little art glitter glue to the back of the adhesive. Okay, so there we go. And normally I wouldn't like those colors, but this is going to look really cool with these leaves on top because the color is going to be pretty close. Also going to put some foam tape on the back of my sentiment. I'm also, because I haven't yet, need to trim this down so all of the sides are pretty much even. And this is a fun card anyway, but I think it does need a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one of the flowers, and again I'm using some foam tape. Okay, it's going to be a little bit off, and then I'm going to tuck one of my leaves around so it's kind of grabbing. Oh, that's good, good. I like that. Okay, let me put some foam on the back of my leaf, And I know I'm going to use at least one more because I'm doing another one of those cards. So I'll go ahead and use this piece of foam on another one. Go ahead and put my leaf down first. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of bling. I'm debating whether or not I want to put another flower on here though. Let's see what that would look like. That's where it's going to go, because you can layer that up right on top and it matches perfectly. And I'm going to add a few little gems to this. I think this one is perfect. It's got a lot going on, but I'm loving that little background. I'm loving the embossed detail. This one is a very detailed card. I don't usually make it like this, but this turned out pretty cool. So now I'm going to go, I'll be making a second one of those, but I also want to go on and start working on some of these. Most of these panels that I did are basically around mini slimline size. So I just cut down a piece of heavyweight cardstock to act as a card base, and it's folded in half. And then I've got the excess, which is a little bit smaller, but does come up to be a little bit wider than my regular card panel. So that is going to be perfect. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use first. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm also going to be embossing it using the new Stylized Diamonds, I think, embossing folder. Okay. So that looks lovely. And making sure I get the edges so that those don't pull up. Okay, and then I'm also going to do, like I did on the last card, I'm going to add a few little gems. And I'm going to add the whole thing onto the card base using some foam tape. I'm going to go ahead and just add this to the back of my card front, starting in the middle and then just going a little bit to the outside. And there's my second card. So for the next ones, I decided to go ahead and pull out the Stylized Border Trio. That is this, that's these guys. And there is actually one more die that goes along with it, but I've just pulled out two of the dies so far. I may decide to play with the other ones before I get done, but I also went ahead and cut out a bunch of these in white, and it looks like white lace. This is paper, this is cardstock. So I'm going to use one of these little panels that this is actually one that I had stamped out this way and just trimmed it down in half, so it is smaller than typical A2. I think I'm going to adhere all of this stuff down onto foam tape. So I'm going to pop this part up and adhere the other pieces down, and then I can adhere all of that down onto my card base or card panel. Haven't completely decided, do I want to do a card panel in the middle or not. Now, since these are intricate, I did use a metal shim to cut through easily, but that worked out really well. Let's see if I can get that lined up. Straight line. I'm basically lining it up with those center circles. Okay. And then this will go, I think that's going to be pretty much perfect. And by the way, I always have got this in my videos, but I don't think I mentioned very often where I got that. That was actually from my good friend Gloria. And if you're interested in getting any of those, please let me know and I will put you in touch with her. Because these things are just lovely and I love it. And it works so well to keep my adhesive pretty much sealed up. Now, if you've got a Xyron sticker maker, this would probably work a lot faster. Okay, let me pull this one up. That is just so pretty. And next, all I need is a couple little gems. This time I think I'm also going to add some smaller gems in these little circles here that the die cut out. And that is going to finish up that card. I'll be making more similar cards with the rest of these panels, and you can see those over on my blog and over on my Instagram in the next couple of days, but I'm going to finish that up for now. To see some more videos where I'm using wonderful Spellbinders products, be sure to check out this playlist. You guys have a wonderful day, and remember, if I can make it, you can too. Have a great day.